Bulavinaka, my name is Litia and I'm from the beautiful island of Laos and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
My name is Casey, I'm from Tabua. We love Today FM in Tabua. Today FM rocks.
My name is Selina, I'm from Tavenga Vengamba. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Pula, my name is Carlo. I love listening to the music
In the news tonight, retail fraud investigation begins tomorrow. 43 people handed taxi permits. And FEO plans next round of overseas voter registration.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
A task force consisting of officials from the Consumer Council and the Fijian Consumer and Competition Commission will begin investigations into allegations of fraud against traders from tomorrow. The Consumer Watchdog and the Protection Agency has received complaints from people in the Western Division who are being assisted under the Homes Care Initiative. Pranita Prakash reports.
Consumer Council Chief Executive Premila Kumar says they are aware of cases where traders increased the prices of goods and services after the initiative was rolled.
So far we've received 5 complaints on our National Consumer Helpline, on Home Care Initiative and 1 complaint on Farm Care Initiative. And people have been raising their concern because they always intended to buy their products, most of these white goods, after losing them during floods. So they were keeping a tab on the prices. So when this particular program rolled out, they went back to those stores and they were surprised to find that the prices went up.
It is alleged traders are using various tactics to lure the consumers to exhaust their money in one shop.
We've also seen other tactics being used by the traders. For example, the main reason why government has put the money in the card is for them to use specifically for the items they need. There is money back promotions going on. In other words, they're encouraging or luring consumers to spend their money up to $1,500 so that they can get $200 cash in their hand.
The Fijian Competition and Consumer Commission says such practices are unethical.
If we find people have artificially increased price without any explanations for it, without having any justifications for such increases, they will be taken to task. The laws as of 1st August 2017 through the Budget Amendment Act has been increased, so further powers have been given to the FCCC and we will exercise those powers very strictly.
The Consumer Council and the FCCC is urging consumers to be vigilant when using their Homes Care Initiative funds. Consumers must carefully evaluate where they make their purchases from. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
43 Fijians today received their taxi permits, the first batch in 7 years since a freeze on taxi permits was put in place in 2011. Acting Prime Minister Ayaz Said Qayyum highlighted that with the new criteria for taxi permits, it sets out to improve the public transportation sector as well as empower those low-income households that want to venture into their own businesses. Maggie Boyle reports.
The long wait now over for these lucky 43, with some able to venture into their own business and others able to now realize their retirement plan.
This is just to help me in my missionary work. I'm on missionary work now, and I thank God that this business will help my family, especially my grandchildren, in their education and our everyday life.
Now I've got a permit, I've got a car as well, because my dad, he has a car which belongs to me, so I'm going to put a permit and make the thing go on taxi ride, so at least I'll have a family background, I'll have something for my own self. That might be my future safety, right?
The acting Prime Minister on hand to explain how the new criteria ensures a fair go for all.
What we have done over the past, in particular 18 months or so, we have created or put in place a number of regulations which sets out very clearly what is required for you to be able to get a permit, what's the criteria against which you will be judged.
He adds it's also about enabling the growth of the economy, particularly for those in the lower salary brackets.
The criteria is very much skewed towards empowering people who come from low-income families. So we've seen here, over here, it says those people who have less than $20,000 per household will be considered.
For the Land Transport Authority, it's steering Fiji into a new era.
There is a huge demand for public service vehicles, and there are many people who wish to tap into the industry so they can be independent.
Effectively, though, for these new permit holders, today's event allows them to be their own boss and take care of business. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Police are pleading for assistance in identifying an Ethauke man believed to be a murder victim who was found dead on the Suva foreshore last Thursday evening. Police need to identify the man before a post-mortem can ascertain his cause of death. The man, believed to be in his 20s, has short black hair, is about 5 feet 6 inches tall and of slim build with fair complexion. He was wearing a bracelet with the letters FR inscribed on it and had a gold-plated stud in his right ear. Items found at the scene include a cap, another bracelet and a pair of black Bata flip-flops. Anyone with information that could assist the police in identifying this person is requested to call 9905 646. The second round of overseas registration drive is expected to be conducted next month by the Fijian Elections Office following requests from Australia, New Zealand and the USA. FEO Supervisor Mohammed Saneem says over 2,900 Fijians living overseas have registered so far, and of this number, 696 will be first-time voters. The FEO is requesting assistance from the Fiji missions overseas to reach out to Fijian communities and identify locations where there is a demand for voter services. Saneem adds they will provide information on the postal information system that can be used by voters overseas to cast their vote.
In the event there is somebody overseas who still has their voter card but that contains an address from Fiji, the person can still vote in the general election by applying for a postal vote. It is, whilst we would prefer that the person updates their registration details for the voter card, in the event they have not been able to do so, they can still vote by applying for a postal vote using the existing details on their voter card.
Still to come, Maritime Islanders to benefit from free medical clinics. An Agriculture Ministry doing its best to revitalise copra industry. Stay with us.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo tali taka na varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoi Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Sa kombinasyon mo tikola, ndo tali taka na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoi Viti.
Ayaw ko yazo sila tali. Nagurara may nawamanyi nandunga gitu tele tegi nang gitu beneswale bu nangundu rongo barrongo na Radio Fiji 1 nandunga biti
na Radio Fiji 1 nandunga biti na bonga ni BNN.
The health services in Fiji are fairly scattered, however people still find difficulty accessing it. And to address the issue, non-governmental organisation Satya Sai Service Organisation of Fiji, along with a team of doctors and health professionals from New Zealand, are providing outreach clinic services to people in the remote areas. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Satya Sai Service Organisation has been bringing teams to conduct free medical clinics for the past 12 years. And this is the first time health checks are being done in Lomai Viti and other maritime areas.
Traditionally, we're able to provide certain services that aren't as easily accessible in Fiji. So in our group at the moment, there is a gastroenterologist who is able to provide expert bowel care services, and bowel problems are very common.
Experienced general practitioners are part of the team who specialize in different fields.
We'd like to come back every year and do some service over here. We do find that there is a need for this sort of a service in this country. We go to the remote areas, see the people who really in need of medical care, especially in areas where it's not easily accessible.
The team provided service to over 400 people in Nandi yesterday before moving to Levuka today. The outreach clinic also provides eye and dental healthcare services. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Improvements to bus shelters, traffic lights, crossings and street signs are some of the public assets that the Fiji Roads Authority considers while carrying out roadworks. FRA Chief Executive Jonathan Moore says that attention should not only be focused on roads but on other assets as well. Kelly Vavala reports.
The Fiji Roads Authority has been carrying out major repair works for the past few months but says the other areas need attention.
Your road network is a holistic thing. It's not just bits here and bits there.
it links to everything and everything links to it. So you can't just look at one thing in isolation without considering the outside.
FRA General Manager Network Operations and Maintenance Aram Go says they're working on a study that only focuses on public assets.
There's plans, the CEO has plans to look at a wider Suva City traffic flow study, a traffic assessment, and a study of how we can do further pedestrianisation and enhancement and safety, including amenity benefits for the downtown Suva City for visitors and locals alike.
Meanwhile, FRA will be carrying out a detailed transportation study later this year, which will look at improving traffic movements around the country. The first study will be a detailed analysis of the Suva City Centre before they move on to Lautoka, Nandi, Lambasa and other urban areas. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
The Agriculture Ministry is doing all it can to assist the copra farmers in an effort to revitalise the industry. Minister Eniesero Ratu says the demand for copra is increasing globally and they're looking at ways to help farmers increase and diversify their production. Savaira Tambor reports.
The Agriculture Minister visited some copra farms in Vanuatu last Saturday that have received assistance from the government.
The well-being and the welfare of our farmers is one of our top priorities now. And of course you would very well know that we want to modernize the Fiji's agriculture sector. So we need to shift away from monocropping and we need to diversify.
Eniesero Ratu also handed over a new coconut dryer to 65-year-old coconut farmer Birja Nand. Nand, who owns 75 acres of land at Ndawana Estate in the Kaunrave, produces 30 tons of copra per annum. He says the new dryer will assist him greatly.
Labor is expensive now, and they need about 50-50. That's about 1,000 per ton. They will take 500.
For labor cost?
Labor cost 500, and the vehicle from here to Copra Mill is $120.
The ministry is urging farmers to map out plans to revitalise the copra industry and share it with them so that it can be put to action. Savaira Tambua, FBC News.
The first ever Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Summit began in Nandi today. Over the next 4 days, deliberations will focus on drinking water, sanitation, hygiene, wastewater and water quality. Felipe Naikaso with the details.
Participants from various backgrounds who deal with the community at grassroots level were reminded on the need to deliver modern, reliable and resilient infrastructure to people.
A robust water sector backed by a reliable sanitation infrastructure needs to be implemented and maintained to ensure that we have a healthy and productive population. This is driven by hygienic behaviors and healthy lifestyles.
With this in mind, Fiji's National Development Plan, which is targeting 100% of Fiji's urban population to have access to clean and safe water by 2021 and rural and maritime areas by 2030, was commended.
Fiji has made incredible progress both in providing water supply and sanitation to its population over the past decades. One of the first countries to have achieved the MDGs.
We have achieved great things through hard work and commitment to a new and unified Fiji, and we need to continue to serve our people and ensure that their right to adequate water, sanitation and quality life is recognized as enshrined in the Constitution.
Currently, 78% of Fiji's population have access to proper water supply. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
In sports later with Jamie, Cronulla Sharks extends its NRL winning streak to 5 matches, but up next is Anna with business.
Thanks, Jackie. Good evening. Coming up in business tonight, farmers urged to diversify into new crops and mixed farming. And in growing Fiji, community receives resilience funding. Stay with us.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकू रेकी रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ। मिर्ची एफएम इज नंबर 1। इट्स सो हॉट।
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट।
हाय, मैं संध्या नारियल रेफ्रिकी से मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट। आई लव मिर्ची एफएम।
हमें स्पिन पता हुआ कि मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे।
मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट।
In In a bid to entice farmers to remain engaged in the agricultural sector, the Agriculture Ministry is encouraging farmers to diversify into new crops and mixed farming. Minister responsible Inia Siriratu says farmers who only produce crops are being encouraged to diversify into raising livestock. The minister highlighted in order for diversification to be successful, a strong partnership between farmers, the government and the private sector is vital. Siriratu says the participation of the private sector is crucial as they are the engine of growth in the economy with equipment, finance, skills and technology for success. He adds through diversification, a steady source of income will be generated for farmers, resulting in an increase in agricultural businesses. We now join Rocco from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
Thank you. Let's look at the South Pacific Stock Exchange market review for last week. 6 listed stocks recorded market activities, noting various share price movements. Amalgamated Telecom Holdings shares increased by 2 cents to end the week at a new all-time high price of $2.62. Fiji TV shares grew 1 cent this week to end at a price of $2.31. RB Group shares increased by 5 cents, closing the week at a price of $4.51. VB Holding shares rose by a further 22 cents this week and ended at a new best share price of $6.45. Vision Investment Limited share increased by 5 cents to close the week at $3.35, while Fijian Holdings Limited shares recorded a growth of 20 cents this week and ended at a price of $8.70. Now, subsequent to the multiple share price movements, the overall market capitalization increased by 0.80% and concluded the week at a value of $2.23 billion. And that's the wrap from our local stock market, Vinaka.
Taking a look at the currency exchange rate set this morning for the Fijian dollar. Our dollar on the rise against all of the other currencies we cover, with the exception of our 2 major trading partners, Australia and New Zealand, where the dollar showed minor slippage. In the commodities market, the fluctuating price of oil is back on the rise but continues to hover near the $72 mark, a barrel mark. Gold rose to $1,289 per ounce and silver remained at $16.41 an ounce. In growing Fiji, climate-vulnerable communities can expect some respite, with the Ministry of Agriculture to work with the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization on strengthening climate resilience and improving food and nutrition security. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, David Kolitangani, noted that in the last 10 years, Fiji has suffered from 33 tropical cyclones, in addition to major floods and other natural disasters. He launched the Fiji program as a means to assist vulnerable communities on climate-smart measures to build resilience and security.
It's part of the $5 million euro, or Fijian dollar 12.2 million, provided by the European Union, under an initiative which aims to improve food and nutrition security in countries and regions that are prone to El Nino-induced vulnerabilities. It will be implemented by FAO Fiji and IDRA, the Adventist Development and Relief Agency. The FAO component is around 2.8 million euros, or 7 million Fijian, and the FAO will implement this project in close partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture.
And that's business for tonight. Jamie joins you now with sports.
Thanks, Anna, and good evening. Up ahead in sports, Flying Fijians captain expects tough battle next month, and Fiji Sevens players eye their first series title win. This and more coming up.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकू रेकी रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ। मिर्ची एफएम इज नंबर 1। इट्स सो हॉट।
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट।
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेकी से मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट। आई लव मिर्ची एफएम।
हमें स्पिन तो बताओ कि मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे।
मिर्ची एफएम, इट्स हॉट।
A few Flying Fijians got their chance to pose with the Weberless Cup today on its Rugby World Cup trophy tour ahead of the tournament in Japan next year. Since coach John McKee announced his squad just over a week ago, overseas-based players have started to arrive for the June test matches against Samoa, Tonga and Georgia. Luciana Tangedakamba reports.
This is as close as the Flying Fijians were allowed to the William Webb Ellis Cup, the right to lift it only reserved for the winning team. Regardless, coach John McKee says the short visit has boosted player morale ahead of its June test matches.
Fiji, and a credit to those players that the hard work that they've put in to see, Nax winning the European Cup Player of the Year and Nicky Onivar to win the Aviva Premiership Player of the Year. So that's a great honour for those players, and they'll come to us in June as some of our senior, most experienced players. And we're really looking to those players to lead by example and continue that good form that.
McKee has selected his extended squad and says there is competition amongst the players who have to prove themselves to get into the final pick.
Coach, it's a good thing to have choice, and certainly around the centres and wings we've got a lot of depth. There's a lot of competition for places going towards next year.
Flying Fijians captain Akapu Singera says with the mixed combination of players, they need to gel ahead of the test matches.
It's a good squad that the coaches and the selectors have picked, and I think it's a very tough task for us, especially going against Samoa in the first game. As we know, they'll try and get a revenge on us about the last year's result. So it's very important for us to come together as a group as quickly as possible.
The Fiji Airways Flying Fijians is drawn with Australia, Uruguay, Georgia and Wales. Luciana Tangedakamba, FBC Sports.
Despite Ronnie Sau and Alessio Nanduva being standout players for the Fiji Airways men's sevens team in recent tournaments, the two stars are also doing the hard yards to retain a place in the national team for the final leg of the series. Both players are fixed on winning the last two tournaments of the season and claiming their first ever World Series title. Luciana Tangedakamba reports.
Wow, Ronnie Sau on the field.
Dubbed as the sledgehammer, Sau says he is ready to take up the challenge.
For the next tournament, if I'm selected, I'll give my best, especially working hard on learning rails and running lines and also my reaction around the field.
Despite his recent performance in the last sevens leg being given 4 yellow cards, Sau says he is ironing out his weaknesses to better his performance.
Game is a learning curve for me, especially in discipline term. I know I made some tackles that gone high in some of the tournament in the past, and trying to improve myself on tackling area.
Fiji Sevens winger Alessio Nanduva says the side is well prepared and aims to bring the World Series title home.
When we are physically fit and we are ready to go and give our best to win these two tournaments, to win the World Series, and we hope that we're going to win this two legs.
Meanwhile, coach Gareth Beba is expected to name his final 14-member squad this week. Luciana Tangedakamba, FBC Sports.
All Blacks coach Steve Hansen says selecting his squad to face France next month has been the toughest decision of his career. Hansen announced his team yesterday, which had a few surprise inclusions and some notable exclusions. The Cronulla Sharks have extended their NRL winning streak to 5 matches with a 22-16 win over the Canterbury Bulldogs, leaping into 5th spot. Chelsea claimed the FA Cup with a 1-0 victory over Manchester United yesterday, Eden Hazard scoring the only goal of the game from a spot kick. That's it from Sports Tonight. Angie joins you later on with weather, and in the world of the weird and the wonderful segment, the story of a homeless woman who died with over $1 million in the bank. Details coming up.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo talita kana varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and the Moi Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Kombinasyon ko lang ndo talita kana Radio Fiji 1 kina ndo Moi Viti.
Kaya kuyazo sila tale, nagurara may naomanyi, nandunga. Gitu talita gini ang gitu pinasabali, nagunturong barong na Radio Fiji 1.
In new media tonight, details have been released of the first console controller ever designed and made specifically for disabled gamers. And it's weather time now with Angie.
Hello there and welcome to the Weather World. Such a lovely Monday with lots of sunshine throughout the nation. The weather was just right for laundry, I suppose. Taking a look in the west, lots of sun with afternoon cloudy periods. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, another awesome day with sunshine lined up beautifully. And up north, more of the same, pretty great weather to do about anything you love. At sea, east to northeast winds 10 to 15 knots with moderate seas. For the tides, low tide at 11:25 p.m. with high tide at 12:10 a.m. Sunrise at 6:27. For tomorrow, few early morning showers will surround, which will very much clear away later in the day. Tomorrow's temps, Lambasa will be the warmest at 31 degrees. And looking further on to Wednesday, it looks like we'll have to deal with more showers. And that's all from the FBC Weather World. Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fijian Pulse tonight, we ask, what could be the reason behind the increase in teenage pregnancies?
We were monitored by our movement by our parents, but nowadays there's more given more rights to children. Like now children are not monitored, that parents don't know where they go.
Because of peer pressure, how girls think that they can cope up, seeing another, maybe her best friend with a boy, so maybe she was trying to explore more.
I think these kids, you should protect them. If you not protect the girls, they will go outside, do something like that.
Because it all starts from home. The parents should educate the daughters about dangers of
Recapping the main stories, retail fraud investigation begins tomorrow. 43 people handed taxi permits. And FEO plans next round of overseas voter registration. Now for these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question segment, last week we had asked, if the 1987 Rambuka coup did not happen, would Fiji be a different place? 84% said yes. This week we're asking, do you think sex education should not be treated as a taboo subject? Visit our FBC website to answer. Before we go, our shot of the day was taken on Wainikambor Beach on Wakaya Island. It's the only beach workers on the island have access to. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. You can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply #FBC News. That was your FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, stay safe. Good night.
On the Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Kombinasyon mo sekolah untuk talita na Radio Fiji 1 kena Domoy Viti.
Kaya ako sila tali. Naguraramay na omanyi. Nando nga. Gitu talita gini ang gitu pinasabali. Nagundurong. Barong na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti na buong ni BNN.